Hello, my name is Jordan Causadiaz, and today I'm going to be discussing with you the path goal theory for leadership presented in our text in chapter 6. Now, take a moment to reflect on the prevalence of goals or goal setting in the educational field. Maybe you're in K-12 or maybe you're in higher education. What does that look like? Perhaps if you're in K-12, you may think about some of the student benchmarks and goals you make for your students, or the goals you make for yourself within your professional evaluation. Maybe if you're in special education, you think of the goals you create for your students in their IEPs. Maybe in the K-12, beyond the K-12 setting in higher education, you're thinking of some of the recruitment projections you have, or some of the recruitment ideas you have for students or faculty. Well, this all really goes well with education, as education at its core is a goal-oriented profession. And that's why the path goal theory relates really well to education. Motivation is the underlying premise of the path goal theory of leadership. This means that educational leaders need to provide staff and students with the motivation to meet their goals. And in education, as we said, there's lots of goals, and so that's one of the primary focuses of educational leaders. Now, with path goal theory, leaders provide what is missing for their followers. This facilitates the followers being able to achieve their goals if they get assistance and support within that. This is taken again from our text leadership case studies in education. Now, there's a really great graphic in chapter 6 that discusses the basic ideas behind path goal theory. It discusses how everyone, in order to get a goal or be productive, there needs to be a path, right? So we create this goal and then there's a path towards our goal. But oftentimes there are obstacles that get in our way of reaching our goals or being productive. And that's where educational leaders come in. They help define, not defy the goal. They help clarify the path for the followers. They help remove or make amends to those obstacles that might be in the way. And then they provide support for the followers to support them on their journey to achieving their goals. Path goal theory works because the leadership behavior of the leaders is tied directly to the characteristics of the followers and the overarching organizational setting and culture. Here, leaders provide followers with information and rewards to achieve their goals. But similar to what we say as parents, you don't parent all your kids the same way. You don't lead all of your followers or all the people within your organization the same way. So with that in mind, there are 4 different types of leadership behaviors to support 4 different types of followers. There's the directive leadership behavior, which provides guidance and psychological structure. There's the supportive leadership behavior, which provides nurturance. There's the participative leadership behavior that provides involvement. And lastly, there's the achievement-oriented leadership behavior, which provides challenges to the followers. The path goal theory and how it works really is described in a really great infographic in chapter 6. It breaks down the leadership behaviors that we just discussed, and it goes to describing the different follower characteristics. So if you have a follower that's maybe dogmatic or authoritarian in nature, providing that directive leadership behavior with guidance and structure is going to be beneficial. And as a leader, you'll do this through ambiguous, unclear roles and complex tasks. Now, when you have a follower that's maybe unsatisfied, has a need for affiliation or a need for human touch, you're going to really want to be a supportive leader. And through that, providing repetitive, unchallenged, mundane tasks to the follower. Now, with participative, these are the kind of followers that are autonomous, have a need for control, have a need for clarity, and the way you will provide involvement will be through ambiguous, unclear, and unstructured tasks. And lastly, the followers that have high expectations and desire and need to excel will benefit from an achievement-oriented leader that provides challenges through ambiguous, challenging, and complex tasks. Now, all different types of leaders can use these 4 types of leadership behaviors within one educational setting. It's just important that you clearly assess where your followers are at and then choose an appropriate leadership style to match the characteristics of your followers. It's also really great because it keeps reminding us as educators that our central purpose is to help students and staff achieve their goals in a really efficient manner. So utilizing the path goal theory in education almost seems a no-brainer because we're all about creating goals and having expectations for our students and staff to create an efficient and supportive learning environment. On to case study. Because I work in a K-12 setting, I decided to choose the pre-K through 12 concentration case study, so case 6.1 from the chapter, implementing a new model for education. Now, in this case study, Nancy Jefferson is superintendent of a mid-sized public school district. Nancy realizes that our high school seniors are not graduating with the skills needed by local area employers. For example, students aren't able to find jobs in the community, or they're not taking the next steps to begin their professional careers. And this is despite having scores, testing scores compatible with other schools in the district. So she's really trying to figure out what is going on and what she can do to help support her students after they graduate. Nancy comes across a great partnership with the local college. They have some land that they could use to build a new high school, and they would get the land for free with the college being able to use the building at night. And to implement this, she wants to implement a new or create a new high school to implement a new model of education to better prepare graduates for obtaining jobs or taking on the next step to have a career after high school. But before Nancy can put the building plans into effect, she needs to gain approval from 3 key constituent groups so that she can develop that new model for education in the high school. She needs to gain approval from the school board, and she needs to gain approval from the teachers. And lastly, the district, students, and parents. She believes that they can all be swayed when motivated. So here are the questions. How can Nancy do this? What are some goals for Nancy? What are some common goals for Nancy, the school board, teachers, and the students in the case study? And upon reflecting on this case study, I thought that, all of these people, the superintendent, the school board, the teachers, and the students want the students to graduate with the necessary skills to successfully obtain employment or take the necessary steps to obtain a career within their surrounding community. So the goal for Nancy, the school board, the teachers, and the students and parents is all to have successful outcomes. So they really all have the same goal with the students in mind. So I think that can be a really unifying motivation. Now, what follower characteristics do you think each of the constituent groups exhibit? So when reading through the little summary of the school board, the teachers, and the district students and their parents, when it comes to the school board, one trait that comes to mind from the reading is that there is a need for control. Nancy would describe the school board as very control-oriented because they like to present ideas of innovation as their own ideas so that they can get reelected to the school board. They definitely have a need for control. When it comes to the teachers, there's a need for clarity and control. When it comes to the district students and their parents, they have high expectations for their students, and they really have a strong desire for them to excel. And then so in the next question, what leader behavior should Nancy use within each of the constituent groups she's trying to influence? Well, because of that need for control, being a participative leader will be great for the school board to address their need for control. She can provide a need for involvement. Again, the teachers need participative leadership behavior from Nancy. Again, they want that involvement because they have that need for control and clarity. And they also have a need for autonomy. So they like being able to do and think on their own. With the achievement, with the district students and parents, they would benefit from an achievement orientation type of leadership behavior because they have really high expectations for their students and a desire for their students to excel. And so those high expectations can be met with ambiguous, challenging, and complex tasks from the leader. Now, how does the path goal theory of leadership apply to my problem of practice? Well, my problem of practice is exploring the role of school psychologists in special education teacher retention. As this is not an area that has been studied that much, it's more of an exploratory study in really figuring out what is that role and how can they be a support to special education teacher retention. A peer-reviewed journal published a study on path goal leadership styles, and it indicated that supportive style of leadership shows a significant decrease in turnover in tension. I thought utilizing the path goal theory in my study, really supporting that supportive leadership style, could guide my study and how school psychologists interact with special education teachers. For example, the supportive leadership provides nurturance. And a lot of times I do see that in my work day to day with special education teachers. A lot of them, are unsatisfied with the caseload and the support that they receive. And they really have this need for affiliation because oftentimes special education teachers work in silos. So being able to provide repetitive, unchallenging, mundane tasks, such as, weekly meetings, trainings that go over the same thing over and over again until they build up maybe the confidence to do it on their own. Those are all some ideas that I have that are really grounded in path goal theory. So it'll be exciting to work this into my problem of practice more. A real world example is of a video I watched. In 2015, Elon Musk publicly launched Tesla Energy. This was a great example of path leadership style because in it, Elon Musk was the leader and the followers were us, the world, the general public. the goal that he presented in the video was to find sustainable energy to meet the current energy demands of our country. The obstacle is that our current use of coal, oil, and natural gases continues to increase the rising carbon dioxide emissions. So it's a great example of path goal leadership because he defines the goal in his talk. He says he wants to transition the US to solar energy via Tesla solar panels. He discusses and clarifies the path a little bit more by saying we will need 160 million power packs to transition the US to solar energy. He removes obstacles. Solar energy does not contribute to carbon dioxide emissions, and he provides support. Tesla will do this, but they'll need partnerships. So he's reaching out to other manufacturers, and he's going to continue to have open sourcing of Tesla patents so that other manufacturers can create the power packs. It was an interesting video, and so I have the link up there if you want to watch it. And especially since I live in the sunny state of Arizona, it definitely gave me something to think about and motivated me to maybe reconsider where I'm getting my energy from. To close, how could the path goal theory of leadership be applied to your leadership position? This really opened my eyes to the ways in which leaders can tailor the type of behaviors to the type of individuals they are leading. I think it will be really great to continue to explore this within your own leadership settings and with your own problem of practices. Maybe this theory can provide some guidance as you continue moving forward within your educational work settings and within the research that you do there. Lastly, here are some additional resources, the video that I talked about, some journal articles that I thought were really interesting that relate to path theory, path goal theory of leadership, and the one that I discussed in my problem of practice is that impact on turnover intention. So definitely worth checking out. Lastly, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, Jordan Calzadias, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Have a great day.